Isn't it bliss? Don't you approve? One who keeps tearing around, one who can't move.
Send in the Clowns from the musical A Little Night Music.
Send in the clowns.
It was Stephen Sondheim's only hit song, remarkably, because this was the man who revolutionised the American musical. As a young man, he learned his trade from Oscar Hammerstein, the lyricist who wrote shows like Oklahoma and The Sound of Music. Sondheim too started by doing the words, notably for Leonard Bernstein's music in West Side Story. Soon he was writing his own music as well. Most of the shows that followed were hits, and then in 1970 he came up with a new idea, a musical that didn't follow an obvious plot. Company was a series of vignettes featuring a dozen central characters. No two Sondheim musicals were the same.
I don't want to get bored writing, and you know, when you hit a chord that you've hit before, or a technique of using a song that you've done before, or when I do it, I get very nervous.
Bugs on her dugs, there are flies.
I think I've written that. I mustn't do that again. Somebody will catch me up on it, so to speak. It's as if somebody's saying, "Wait a minute, you did that in that show."
We've no time to sit and dither, while her withers wither, and no one keeps a cow for a friend.
Artists are bizarre, fixed, cold. That's you, George, you're bizarre. Fixed.
One of his cleverest creations was Sunday in the Park with George, about the painter Georges Seurat, whose most famous painting was recreated by the characters on stage.
Art is not an easy thing to do, and I've heard people say, "Oh, so-and-so is so talented," as if all they had to do was get up in the morning and the painting was made, or the song was written. And they don't understand that it's exactly as much hard work, and maybe harder, than making a shoe or anything that you make out of nothing.
I thought that you'd want what I want. Sorry, my dear.
For his admirers, Stephen Sondheim produced some of the most sophisticated and thoughtful musicals ever written.
Quick, send in the clowns. Don't bother, they're here.